Welcome back to the deep dive, where we take your pile of sources and distill them into the most potent insights, cutting through the noise to get to the heart of what truly matters. We're here to help you become genuinely well-informed, often with some surprising facts and a healthy dose of shared curiosity.
And our role is to connect those dots, offering critical context and a deeper understanding to what can often be complex, sometimes even profoundly heartbreaking information. Our objective is to leave you with a newfound clarity and a fresh, perhaps even unsettling perspective.
Today, we are embarking on a deep dive into a case that is not only deeply poignant, but also, frankly, profoundly disturbing. It's a mystery that has haunted Washington, D.C. for over a decade now, a chilling story surrounding the disappearance of a little girl. For this exploration, we've delved into, well, quite a stack of reports from local news outlets like 7 News, WTOP News, FOX5DC, WJLA.
Right, and also detailed summaries from places like Uncovered.com, the Black and Missing Foundation, doing such vital work, the DC line.
And even the extensive timeline compiled by Wikipedia. It's a somber collection, definitely, but one that weaves together a compelling, if heartbreaking, narrative of facts, theories, and ongoing efforts.
And our mission today is clear. We're going to meticulously walk through the case of Relisha Rudd. She was an 8-year-old girl who vanished from the D.C. General Family Shelter back in March 2014. We'll unpack the puzzling timeline, the missed opportunities, and there were many, the individuals intimately involved.
The relentless but often frustrated investigations, and yeah, the enduring questions that continue to echo now more than 11 years later.
And what's particularly striking here is how the intersection of multiple, sometimes conflicting perspectives, from law enforcement to community advocates, each strives to piece together the truth in this agonizingly incomplete puzzle.
It's a story of profound vulnerability, absolutely. Systemic failures that allowed a child to just slip through the cracks. And, importantly, a community's unwavering refusal to let her be forgotten. We'll uncover the facts as they are known, the strange occurrences surrounding her disappearance, and the leading theories, hoping that by shedding light on this case, we might contribute to keeping Relisha's memory alive and perhaps even spark a new lead.
This case really compels us to consider a crucial question, doesn't it? In a world just inundated with information, how do we ensure that cases like Relisha's, involving marginalized children, receive not just fleeting attention, but the sustained, focused effort they so desperately need for resolution?
Let's delve into this. Okay, Section 1. Relisha Rudd, the girl who vanished from D.C.'s biggest shelter. Relisha Tenno Rudd. She was born on October 29th, 2005, right there in Washington, D.C., and you just have to picture this child, full of light and warmth. Her family, her teachers, they described her as kind-hearted, friendly, lovely, very sweet.
And even spunky. She apparently had a real spark about her.
Yeah, and she wasn't just a sweet kid. She carried this remarkable sense of responsibility. She was the eldest sister to her 2 younger brothers, Irvine and Antonio Jr.
Right, and she often stepped into sort of a mother figure role for them.
Exactly. Family members remembered her helping with chores, always playing with her brothers. And get this, she even offered to change diapers and push strollers for other parents in their community. Just pure empathy.
Wow.
Her mother, Shamika Young, said everyone who met Relisha immediately fell in love with her. She was just this beacon of light.
It paints such a vivid and, poignant picture of a child radiating warmth and generosity. But then you consider the circumstances. By 2014, Relisha and her family were living in the D.C. General Family Shelter.
And this wasn't just any shelter.
No, not at all. It was a former hospital, this massive kind of imposing facility that housed hundreds of homeless children and their families. At the time, it was infamously described, and accurately so, as the capital city's biggest shame.
Right, so you have this bright, loving, incredibly helpful child, Relisha, trying to navigate this really challenging and, frankly, dehumanizing environment.
That stark contrast, it just immediately draws you in. It highlights the profound vulnerability she experienced every single day, a vulnerability that, tragically, would be exploited.
And it was in this challenging, overcrowded environment that a deeply unsettling figure entered Relisha's life, Khalil Tatum. He was a 51-year-old janitor employed right there at the D.C. General Shelter. But this man had a deeply troubling and extensive criminal past.
Yeah, our sources confirmed Tatum was a convicted felon. His record included burglary, larceny, breaking and entering.
He'd spent a significant chunk of his adult life incarcerated, first from 1993 to 2003, and then again from 2004 to 2011.
Despite that history, He was hired by the Community Partnership for the Prevention of Homelessness, the contractor running the shelter, a decision that obviously came under intense scrutiny later. And what's truly unsettling here is just how insidiously a predator can leverage these systemic vulnerabilities to embed themselves into a marginalized community. Tatum's criminal history, especially those property crimes, I mean, that should have immediately raised massive red flags in a place housing vulnerable families.
You could so.
Yet, he gained access. And he was known for, quote, inappropriately fraternizing with shelter residents.
Chilling.
And what's particularly chilling is that he paid particular attention to young girls, with Relisha becoming a specific focus of his, well, his predatory behavior.
He reportedly befriended Shamika Young, Relisha's mother,
Absolutely.
started showering Relisha with gifts.
Which, in the bleak environment of a shelter might have seemed like genuine kindness.
Yeah, absolutely. He took her on outings, even a Disney on Ice show.
And incredibly, Shamika Young, her mother, reportedly trusted Tatum enough to allow Relisha to spend time with him outside the shelter, even for weeks at a time, according to some reports.
Weeks at a time.
It just raises this critical question about the profound lack of robust oversight, background checks, clear protocols in these facilities, especially those entrusted with vulnerable kids. It really speaks to a broader societal failure, where genuine human connection was maybe so scarce that even a predator's false gestures could be seen as a blessing, weaponizing empathy, essentially.
You can just imagine the growing unease, that gut feeling something was off. Relisha's stepfather, Antonio Wheeler, he actually expressed his discomfort.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a premonition that turned out to be tragically accurate. He recalled warning Shamika Young that Tatum was, quote, getting too fond of Relisha and that they should keep him away from her.
Wow.
But these warnings, which in hindsight seem so incredibly prescient, were tragically unheeded. The stage was set, this dangerous dynamic had been allowed to fester, and unfortunately, the worst was yet to come.
That kind of premonition from a family member, who often sees those subtle shifts, it's far too often dismissed or overlooked. And in Relisha's case, the consequences were just devastating. It really highlights the crucial need for vigilance, not just from institutions, but from within communities themselves, and for those warnings to be taken seriously.
Absolutely. Okay, Section 2, the disappearance and the delayed alarm. And then Relisha disappeared. It happened in late February 2014, just a few months shy of her 9th birthday.
The last time anyone at the D.C. General Shelter officially saw her was on February 26, 2014.
And we have surveillance footage. It captured Relisha on that exact day, walking down a hallway with Khalil Tatum at a Holiday Inn Express hotel in Northeast D.C.
She was reportedly wearing pink boots and a purple Helly Hansen jacket, a detail that volunteers would later cling to, hoping for a sighting.
Such specific details. And this is a critical juncture in the timeline. It reveals this deeply troubling sequence of events and just an agonizingly slow response.
A few days later, on March 1st, 2014, another security camera recorded what would become the last confirmed sighting of Relisha.
Where is this one?
At a Days Inn motel along New York Avenue in D.C., it showed Relisha and Tatum walking together into a room. The footage described the little girl in a white winter coat trailing behind the tall janitor. She was 8 years old.
So we have concrete visual proof of Relisha with Tatum. But what happened next? The enormous gap that follows that last image. 18 days. It's absolutely critical to understanding the tragedy here.
That gap, yeah, that void in the timeline is just chilling. And it fundamentally hampered the investigation right from the start. Shockingly, a full 18 days passed before an official missing person report was filed for Relisha.
18 days. It's unbelievable.
This delay is, without question, one of the most troubling and consequential parts of this whole case. So in early March, after Relisha had missed several weeks of classes at Payne Elementary School, a school counselor, doing her job, became concerned.
As they should.
Right. School officials reached out to Relisha's family, and they were told Relisha was under the care of a doctor. But here's the crucial, calculated deception. When the school called the number they were given,
Let me guess.
it was Khalil Tatum who answered, brazenly impersonating a physician, calling himself Dr. Tatum, claiming Relisha was ill.
Great audacity.
It gets worse. Relisha's grandmother, Melissa Young, even provided a fake doctor's note to the school, presumably dictated by Tatum, saying Relisha was under medical care and couldn't attend.
Wow. So the deception was layered. How did a system designed to protect kids fail so badly here?
It's a huge question. It wasn't just Tatum's manipulation, it was the fragmented communication, the lack of verification that let his charade continue for weeks.
And compounding this, Relisha's mother, Shamika Young, she didn't report her daughter missing.
No. And family members, when questioned later, gave conflicting accounts about where Relisha was during this critical time.
Like,
Relisha's aunt claimed she was with a family friend named Ashley. Her mother said she was last seen at the shelter. Both stories turned out to be false.
so just confusion and conflicting stories.
Exactly. Relisha's stepfather, Antonio Wheeler, admitted his own confusion later, recalling, "They're asking me when the last time I see her. I was told she was at Ashley's house. Shamika, her mother, told them she was at the shelter last. No, she wasn't. Just complete inconsistency."
These conflicting narratives, the outright deception, it just created this thick smokescreen.
It absolutely did. It effectively prevented anyone from realizing the immediate danger Relisha was in. And it meant valuable, irreplaceable time was slipping away. Time that could have been crucial for finding Relisha alive.
Her grandmother, Melissa Young, later shared that Relisha suffered from severe headaches, right, since she was little.
Yes, since she was 1, and had even had a seizure the previous October. Medical details Tatum likely knew about.
Which would have made his Dr. Tatum act more plausible to the school.
Precisely. Though the grandmother assured authorities the family never asked him to pose as a doctor, implying Tatum orchestrated the whole hoax, exploiting not just their trust, but Relisha's medical history too.
So it wasn't until March 13th, 2014, 2.5 weeks after she was last seen, that the school finally forced the issue.
Right. A school counselor, unable to verify anything and deeply alarmed by the Dr. Tatum charade, took decisive action.
What did she do?
She contacted D.C.'s Child and Family Services Agency, the city's Child Protective Services, and the police to file a missing persons report.
Finally. But even then, the response wasn't immediate.
Not as swift or aggressive as it should have been, no. Reports indicate that some relatives were hesitant to immediately involve the police or issue an Amber Alert for Relisha.
Hesitant. Why?
It's hard to say for sure. Maybe fear, denial, misplaced optimism. She was okay with someone they knew. Maybe distrust of authorities.
Whatever the reason, it just meant more agonizing, critical time was lost.
Absolutely devastating. The layers of missed opportunities here are just heartbreaking.
So finally, March 19th, 2014, D.C. police hold a press conference, appealing for information.
And by March 20th, an Amber Alert was officially activated. That's the critical system, broadcasting info about abducted kids everywhere, highway signs, phones.
But by this point, Relisha had been missing for nearly 3 weeks.
Nearly 3 weeks. That critical head start for her alleged abductor. It just profoundly complicated everything.
The case had tragically escalated from a truancy concern to a full-blown abduction investigation.
And authorities were now realizing the grim reality. Relisha was last seen with Khalil Tatum, a man whose picture was getting darker by the hour.
Okay, Section 3. The escalation. Murder, manhunt, and a tragic end. The moment the alarm was finally raised, things started happening fast and ominously. What's truly disturbing is that while Relisha's disappearance flew under the radar for those 18 days, Khalil Tatum reportedly still showed up for work every single day.
At the shelter.
At the homeless shelter, yeah. From March 2nd right through March 19th. Interacting with staff who had absolutely no idea he was under suspicion, just going about his duties like nothing was wrong.
The sheer composure, or maybe just cold detachment, to maintain that facade is just chilling.
Right.
That detail alone profoundly deepens the sense of dread around Tatum. His ability to keep up appearances for over 2 weeks, possibly after harming Relisha, it suggests calculated ruthlessness. And a chilling confidence he wouldn't be caught quickly. Or maybe that Relisha was no longer a visible concern. It paints a very dark, premeditated picture. He was actively buying himself time.
And this is where the investigation takes a devastating turn. It explodes into a full-blown homicide inquiry. The search for a missing child becomes a frantic manhunt.
What happened?
On March 19th, 2014, Khalil Tatum and his wife, 51-year-old Andrea Tatum, checked into a Red Roof Inn in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Early the next morning, around 6 a.m. on March 20th, a friend picked up Khalil Tatum from the motel. The friend later told police he saw Andrea Tatum lying face down on the motel bed, unresponsive.
Oh my God.
Khalil Tatum didn't let the friend into the room, just hurried him away. The friend dropped Tatum off at the Southern Avenue Metro station in D.C.
So by 8 o'clock that same morning, police, now responding urgently to the Amber Alert for Relisha, rushed to that Red Roof Inn.
And they made a grim discovery. Andrea Tatum's body was in the room. She had been shot to death, execution style.
Execution style.
Khalil Tatum was gone. And crucially, Relisha was not with her.
The murder of his wife, it just irrevocably escalated everything, transformed it from a missing persons case into a major homicide inquiry.
Tatum was now the prime suspect for murder and abduction.
A critical turning point. Deepened the mystery, heightened the urgency. Law enforcement facing a double tragedy and a suspect on the run.
And the cascade of grim events just kept accelerating. On March 21st, a warrant was issued for Khalil Tatum's arrest for Andrea's murder. And as investigators dug deeper, they uncovered these deeply suspicious purchases Tatum made. Just one day after Relisha's last confirmed sighting.
What kind of purchases?
On March 2nd, Tatum bought contractor-grade 42-gallon trash bags, a shovel, and lime.
Lime.
Like the chemical.
Yeah, often used to try and speed up decomposition, mask odors.
Oh, that's incredibly dark. Contractor-grade bags, too, not just regular trash bags.
Exactly. Designed for heavy-duty, large-scale disposal. And he was also spotted that same day near the Kenilworth Park and Aquatic Gardens in northeast D.C.
Kenilworth Park, that's a huge area, right? 700 acres.
Huge. Marshland, woods, murky ponds.
So connecting the dots. Tatum's actions, the murder of his wife, these suspicious purchases, it paints a chillingly calculated picture. It strongly suggests he was eliminating witnesses and actively trying to dispose of evidence, likely Relisha's remains. This rapid escalation of violence, from disappearance to murder, it was a horrifying signal.
D.C.'s police chief at the time, Cassie Lanier, she publicly stated, "We cannot ignore the possibility that Tatum may have killed her."
And very quickly, the search for Relisha was regrettably treated as a recovery mission. Officials feared they were looking for remains, not for her alive.
So driven by these grim new leads, the purchases, the sighting near the park, an intensive search of Kenilworth Park began, March 25th.
For days, police, FBI agents, cadaver dogs, volunteers, they scoured that vast park, combing through marshland, dense woods, ponds.
An exhaustive, incredibly challenging effort, difficult terrain, just a desperate attempt to find any trace of Relisha.
But despite this monumental effort, nothing. No trace of Relisha Rudd was found.
And here, the investigation hits this crucial, devastating roadblock.
The sheer desperation and scale of that search, covering such a vast, challenging landscape, it just underscored the growing fear she'd met a tragic end.
And finding nothing. Incredibly frustrating, a profound letdown for everyone involved.
Then, on April 1st, 2014, the search took another shocking turn.
How was it?
Khalil Tatum's body was found in a shed in Kenilworth Park itself.
He killed himself.
Died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and police determined it was the same gun that had killed his wife, Andrea.
Wow, so the prime suspect was dead.
And Relisha was still missing. It was a devastating, almost insurmountable blow to the investigation. Investigators found no trace of Relisha in the park. Tatum's suicide note, if one even existed, or his phone records revealed nothing about her fate.
The answers seemingly died with him, leaving this agonizing, impenetrable void at the heart of the mystery.
Section 4, the unanswered questions and persistent search.
It's truly a profound and agonizing situation, isn't it? Despite all those exhaustive efforts, Relisha's physical trail just went completely cold after March 1st, 2014.
I remember in May 2014, volunteer searchers found some bones in Kenilworth Park. There was this brief hope.
Right, but tragically they were determined not to be human remains.
And to this day, no one has ever been charged in connection with Relisha Rudd's disappearance.
Her case officially shifted from an active abduction to what's often called a cold case. But authorities emphatically maintain it is still an open and active missing person case.
That's a crucial distinction. D.C. authorities have notably not issued a death certificate for Relisha. Officially, she remains a missing person, not a homicide victim.
And that classification is so significant. Legally and emotionally, it leaves a door open, however tiny, for her to still be out there.
For investigators, though, the leading theory remains a grim one. D.C. Metro Police, the FBI, they've widely operated on the theory that Relisha was murdered by Khalil Tatum.
Likely very soon after she was last seen with him. And that Tatum subsequently hid or disposed of her body in a location that just hasn't been discovered yet.
This raises such an important question, doesn't it? What are the psychological, the investigative implications when a case stays open like this? Without a body, without definitive evidence of what happened.
The lack of closure is just a profound, enduring burden for the family, for the community.
And the theory of Tatum's guilt, it's supported by that confluence of disturbing circumstantial evidence.
Right. His purchase of the shovel, the lime, those contractor-grade trash bags right after she disappeared. his sightings in Kenilworth Park around that time, and then his subsequent murder-suicide, which investigators believe was a desperate attempt to cover up his crimes, eliminate his wife as a witness.
It's a tragically common, calculated pattern you see sometimes in these kinds of abduction cases, acquaintances trying to erase all traces.
It's a grim picture, definitely. And given the compelling circumstantial evidence, it represents the most straightforward, albeit painful, path for investigators.
But is it the only one? Not everyone agrees.
No, some relatives, community advocates like Derica Wilson, she's the president and CEO of the Black and Missing Foundation, they've held on to a very different, more hopeful theory,
Which is?
that Relisha may have been trafficked and could, in fact, still be alive. This highlights a critical tension you often see in these complex, emotionally charged cases. Law enforcement has to follow concrete forensic evidence, right?
Sure.
But community advocates often highlight broader societal patterns, circumstantial clues that point to different possibilities.
So what clues does Wilson point to?
She points to Relisha's mother, Shamiki Young's inconsistent story about where Relisha was, her failure to report Relisha missing, and critically, photos of Young and Antonio Wheeler reportedly flaunting unexplained money and new possessions on social media around the time Relisha disappeared.
Unexplained money. Like what?
Pictures showing, supposedly, wads of cash, brand new sneakers and phones. Wilson believes these details are suspicious. She suggests Relisha may have been trafficked for sex and that Tatum might have been part of a larger criminal network, especially since nobody was ever found.
And she mentioned Atlanta.
Yet she notes that Atlanta is known as a hub for such activity,
Yeah.
and that early on, federal agents actually considered trafficking a working theory. They even put Relisha's photo on billboards there.
So this alternative perspective, it encourages critical thinking, questioning assumptions.
Exactly, considering all viewpoints, however unsettling they might be.
But it's important to note the official view is different. D.C. Metro Police detectives have explicitly ruled out the sex trafficking theory. They're focused on Tatum's direct involvement.
Right. But despite that official stance, advocates like Wilson cling to that profound hope for Relisha's survival. She emphatically states, "Until you bring me a body, this little girl is out there."
Wow. Powerful words.
And based on this belief, advocates have circulated flyers not just in D.C., but in other states too, refusing to give up.
It's a powerful testament to the human spirit's refusal to accept an incomplete narrative when there's no definitive proof.
Absolutely. Beyond these leading theories, other speculation has emerged naturally, fueled by the lingering questions, the lack of closure,
Like involvement of others.
a cover-up. There's been speculation about other people, family members, Tatum's known criminal associates being involved because of those timeline gaps and the family's initial reported uncooperativeness.
Was anyone ever charged?
A grand jury did consider charging Shamiki Young with obstruction of justice back in 2014, but ultimately no charges were filed. There's no conclusive evidence linking any other family member to directly harming Relisha.
So mostly rumor and unproven theory regarding others.
Pretty much. Another deeply human theory, often voiced most passionately by those closest to Relisha, is that persistent hope. She's still alive and just doesn't know who she is.
Her stepfather, Antonio Wheeler, he holds on to this.
Yeah, he stated in 2023, "I got my hopes. I honestly do." Her younger brother also believes she's still alive. They're just not looking hard enough.
And this hope is bolstered by these incredible stories like Monique Smith.
Exactly. A woman abducted as a child, found 50 years later, lived under a different identity, totally unaware of her past. Longest living Jane Doe identified, they think. And Smith told Relisha's family directly. All missing children aren't dead. We're alive, we're walking, we don't know that we were abducted. And this is the same hope I have for Relisha.
Wow. That's a poignant testament to hope against overwhelming odds. A reminder, not every missing person case ends tragically.
It truly is. And beyond the immediate tragedy, Relisha's case threw this harsh spotlight on painful systemic realities in D.C.
Right. It exposed serious failures in various systems. Homelessness services, child welfare, law enforcement coordination.
Henderson Long, founder of DC's Missing Voice, he admitted it openly. "We kind of failed Relisha Rudd on so many different levels, referring to missteps from family, community authorities, everyone."
And the impact of this failure led to real changes, didn't it?
Significant tangible changes, the public outcry, the intense scrutiny after Relisha's case. It was a major factor that directly led to the permanent closure of that decrepit D.C. General Family Shelter in 2018.
The capital city's biggest shame, gone.
Demolished. Replaced by smaller, more humane family shelters designed for better support, more dignity.
So Relisha's story became this painful catalyst for change.
It really did. It forced the city to confront deep-seated issues,
Yeah.
led to comprehensive reforms in how missing children's cases are handled, especially for vulnerable kids, aiming to ensure such a profound systemic failure wouldn't happen again.
Section 5, Ongoing Efforts and Annual Remembrance. It's truly incredible to see a community rally for so long, turning deep pain into this collective purpose. It shows how profoundly Relisha touched the city, even in her absence.
Every year on July 11th, D.C. officially marks Relisha Rudd Remembrance Day.
And on this day, the community gathers. Vigils, rallies, prayer gatherings, often near the site of the old D.C. General Shelter.
Yeah, which is now just an empty lot, right? A poignant reminder.
Participants hold candles, release balloons, wear T-shirts with Relisha's smiling face. These events are crucial awareness campaigns.
Volunteers hand out flyers, age-progressed posters, relentlessly ensuring her story isn't forgotten by new generations.
Henderson Long from DC's Missing Voice, he put it clearly. We're working on people's heartstrings, hoping that they'll come forward.
Exactly. These events are meticulously designed to ensure that Relisha's story stays alive in the public consciousness, a constant active reminder.
And they're educational too, right?
Absolutely. Informing attendees on proactive measures, like reporting a child missing immediately, no hesitation. Encouraging parents to keep recent photos, fingerprints, dental records on file.
The hope is that by sharing Relisha's story, they can prevent another tragedy.
It highlights the enduring commitment, but also the challenge of identifying someone missing for so long.
Authorities, too, they continue their unwavering efforts, using every tool they have.
They periodically release those age-progressed images of what Relisha might look like now, adapting to how time changes appearance.
Around the 10-year anniversary, 2024, they shared a rendering of Relisha as a teenager. She'd be 19 now.
19. A stark reminder of the years past, the life missed. These age progression photos are crucial. They encourage us, the public, to look again, consider if we might unknowingly encounter a face transformed by time.
The Metropolitan Police Department insists the case remains open and active. Detectives never giving up, re-examining cold leads.
The FBI keeps her on their missing persons list, too, actively offering that $25,000 reward.
And wasn't there a search under the old shelter?
Yeah, in late 2018, after DC General closed for good, they got a specific tip and searched the network of utility tunnels underneath the former shelter.
Wow, what was that like?
Search teams in protective gear navigating dark, cramped, labyrinthine tunnels. Considering the possibility Relisha never even left the immediate vicinity, maybe hidden in those forgotten subterranean spaces.
Did they find anything?
No. Despite that intense, determined effort, no significant evidence was found. Another dead end, unfortunately.
Section 6. Overlooked tips, timeline gaps, and the call to action. So at the 11-year mark, 2025, investigators keep emphasizing what they see as the Achilles heel of the case, that timeline gap.
Right, that haunting, critical period. Roughly 18 days, February 26th to March 13th, 2014. Relisha's whereabouts during that entire time are completely unaccounted for.
And for an investigation, that's like a black hole. That 18-day void, it's perhaps the most profound lost opportunity haunting the entire case. Made initial searches almost impossible.
It raises these critical, persistent, devastatingly unanswered questions. Where was Relisha kept during those weeks? Did anyone besides Tatum see her alive in early March?
We know Tatum was moving freely, right? Working his job, making those suspicious purchases in early March.
Exactly, which suggests Relisha could have been hidden somewhere, possibly even with someone else, right there in the D.C. area during that time.
Every hour of that gap, a lost opportunity for evidence, eyewitness accounts, intervention.
For investigators, it meant they were already 18 days behind Tatum from the start, trying to piece together a story from fragments in this fast-moving, high-stakes situation.
And the puzzle extends to Tatum's activities after March 1st, but before March 20th, when his wife's body was found.
We know he got the shovel, the lime, the trash bags on March 2nd, just a day after Relisha's last sighting, seen near Kenilworth Park.
Yet, despite huge searches, no evidence of Relisha was found there.
Which begs the agonizing question. Could Tatum have moved her body somewhere else, still undiscovered? Or maybe handed her off to someone else, a co-conspirator, who stayed silent?
What about those Atlanta ties? Did that lead anywhere?
Well, connecting that to the bigger picture, it shows how expansive and often frustrating these investigations are, how speculative leads can send resources in many directions.
So the FBI did look into Atlanta.
Early on, yeah. They got info. Tatum had ties there, raised concerns he might have traveled there with Relisha, possibly linking to that trafficking theory. Electronic billboards in Atlanta flashed her photo, Tatum's face, late March 2014. Georgia police were alerted.
But no confirmed sightings.
No. His known trail ultimately stayed within D.C. and Maryland. So that particular lead, while pursued, didn't pan out. Underscores the challenge of separating viable leads from speculation.
But the relentless inquiry continues. Detectives pursue every tip, no matter how old or seemingly insignificant, because one small detail can change everything.
Metropolitan Police Chief Pamela Smith reiterates the case is open, active. Detectives periodically recheck the file, explore new forensic tech.
Like genetic genealogy.
Exactly. Reconstructing family trees from trace DNA left at a scene, potentially identifying distant relatives, an unknown subject or victim.
And improved facial recognition.
Right. Reanalyzing older surveillance footage, hoping to catch details or identify individuals missed before, especially as Relisha's age-progressed image evolves. Chief Smith assured the public this case is not sitting on a shelf gathering dust.
Henderson Long insists somebody out there knows something, has that missing link.
His belief is that even a seemingly minor recollection, seeing Tatum's vehicle somewhere odd, a strange comment he made, could be the critical thread.
The community, the police, re-examining old evidence, re-interviewing people, reviewing footage with better tech.
It emphasizes that no detail is too small when it comes to finding Relisha, even now.
It truly just takes one person. One small detail could unravel this whole thing, finally bring closure. It's precisely why we do these deep dives.
And one constructive outcome, however bittersweet, has been significantly improved coordination in missing kids cases in D.C.
Right, after an internal review admitted communication failures early on.
Now there's far greater awareness and urgency, especially for missing kids from vulnerable situations. It's a legacy of her disappearance, a heartbreaking improvement born from tragedy.
Okay, let's wrap up. Relisha Rudd's story is a heartbreaking example of a child who, despite being surrounded by people who cared for her, tragically slipped through profound systemic cracks.
But her family and an unwavering community are ensuring she doesn't slip from memory. They hold on to hope for closure.
Whether that means the miraculous return of Relisha home alive, or finally conclusively knowing what became of her.
The ongoing, persistent efforts highlight the critical need for sustained public engagement, continued critical thinking in these long unsolved cases, especially for marginalized individuals whose stories might otherwise fade. Relisha's story has become this powerful rallying cry in D.C. to profoundly improve how we protect vulnerable children, how swiftly and comprehensively we respond when they go missing.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? If you or someone you know lived in D.C. back in 2014 and might recall something, anything at all, no matter how insignificant it seems, how distant the memory, please speak up. It truly could be the missing piece of this agonizing puzzle.
The Metropolitan Police Department has made it easy to get information to them, anonymously if needed. Anyone with information about Relisha Rudd's disappearance can contact the MPD's tip line. That number is 202-727-9099.
Or you can text 50411 to send information anonymously.
And there is a substantial reward, up to $25,000 from the FBI, plus additional local funds totaling up to $50,000.
That's for information that leads to finding Relisha or bringing those responsible to justice.
You can also reach out to dedicated organizations like the Black and Missing Foundation. They'll gladly receive tips and discreetly forward them to law enforcement, offering another layer of trust and support.
The MPD's slogan remains clear and urgent. If you see something, say something.
Because truly, no detail is too small when it comes to finding Relisha and finally bringing her home, whatever form that may take.
Please, keep Relisha's story circulating on social media. Share her age progression photos. Stay alert in your communities. Someone, somewhere, might hold the key that unlocks this decade-long mystery.
We hope that one day we will no longer mark anniversaries of Relisha's disappearance, but instead celebrate the day her mystery was finally solved, bringing peace to her family, justice to her memory.
Until then, we remember Relisha Rudd, and we continue to ask with every fiber of our being, where is Relisha? Join us next time on The Deep Dive as we continue to explore the vital stories behind the headlines and bring you the insights that truly matter.